Guys, welcome to an exciting episode of Pete vs. Anxiety. My guest today has a master's in science of acupuncture and Oriental medicine. She's also an expert area of expertise is glowing mental health. Please welcome the author of the Homestead Mindset, the one, the only Elizabeth Buckner. How you doing today, Elizabeth?
Hi, Pete. Thank you for having me today.
Well, Elizabeth, why don't you tell everybody a little bit more about yourself?
Okay, I am an acupuncturist, herbalist, and author. I'm also a fermentation maven and an accidental homesteader. So, becoming a homesteader was not something I was always wanting to be. I watched lots of episodes of Little House on the Prairie, but I didn't want to be Little House on the Prairie. And I didn't realize until I was learning traditional skills that I was what we call now a modern homesteader, which is someone that lives in the suburbs, that does not make her own clothes, does not fight off bears with a rifle. I do own a pitchfork, which I seem feels kind of homesteady to me. But if you were to walk by my house, you would think it's just like any suburban house. And so I was thinking about how it relates to your audience, Pete versus anxiety. And I do have a history of anxiety and depression that I treated naturally, and homesteading was a part of that treatment.
I think that's a very good point, though. To think about it, because not a lot of people realize that, there's natural cures for a lot of stuff. I think
Mm,
everybody's too medicine driven, so that's why I love
mm,
when I get people like yourself that are doing these great things using natural remedies versus big pharma just pushing the pill, which like 90% of those don't even work. Like the anxiety medicines too are so horrible. Like your chest starts racing, and it's like, I don't think this is what it's supposed to be doing to me, guy. And it's so cool though. But I'm so excited though because I was looking at your book and I'm like, this is so cool. So how did you come up with the idea for the book? Was it something you just kind of stumbled across while you were working on your own anxiety and depression?
I actually, it happened for a number of reasons. I was dealing with a chronic illness, and just coming out of the pandemic, I was finally getting better through holistic means. I mean, I'm an acupuncturist, so I was already looking for holistic, and I'm not a big fan of big pharma for sure.
Hmm.
And so I was over medicated as a child with antibiotics for my lung issues. And so I had a terrible gut. Like my gut microbiome was just insane. And that I believe caused a great deal of my anxiety and my depression. And so as I became more well versed in mental health, my specialty in Chinese medicine as an acupuncturist was stress related illnesses. So I was dealing a lot with patients with post traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety. And what I recognized was there were a few things that could help that don't cost any money. However, patient compliance was kind of difficult. Patient compliance means when you give a patient homework, do they take it home and actually do it? And that wasn't happening. So there was this puzzle piece that was missing. My patients were feeling better when they were in the clinic. They were getting a lot of relief with acupuncture for their anxiety, depression, and whatnot. But when they were going home, the habits that they had were not helping them. And so that was in the back of my mind. Then I had a chronic illness, which was due to eating what I thought was very healthy foods, but a lot of processed foods.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then the pandemic hit. And I remember finally being well enough to drive my car. And it was just as like on the news, they were talking about the pandemic. And I thought, this is not okay. 2 weeks, that no problem. 2 weeks will be no problem. I've been in a chronic illness for years. I'll be fine. And then I went to the grocery store to get garlic and ginger, organic garlic and ginger, which in Chinese medicine is great for upper respiratory issues, which is what we were dealing with. And I noticed that the shelves were bare. And that freaked me out. Like there was
Yeah.
no garlic and there was no ginger. And I realized it was the first time in my generation, because my mom is a war refugee from Belarus.
Oh,
So
okay.
her and
Okay.
her family popped around Europe after Stalin took our land and whatnot, and came here. And I heard a lot of stories. It was kind of like our family folklore of famine, but I thought that would never happen here. And all it took was one medical emergency to cause our food system to break down before my eyes. So I came home and I said to my husband, I am really freaked out about this. I'm feeling a lot of anxiety. And he's like, well, why don't we try growing our own food? And I just kind of took a pause, and then very gently said, "Do you remember who you're married to? Like, are you aware of all the plants that I've killed during the lifetime of our marriage?" However, I like a challenge. And I also know that one of the prescriptions to anxiety is action. And so I went to the garden store and said, "Hey, what do you have that I can eat that won't die in my backyard?" And slowly, slowly, I started learning how to grow my own food. And if you were to drive by my house this morning, you would see me out there just pulling a few sweet potato vines, the leaves from it, and going out barefoot, getting a little grounding in, grabbing my weed. Basically, it grows like a weed here, and then putting it in my juice. But you wouldn't know that my landscaping is edible if you walked by, unless you got a closer look and you thought, "Oh, that ornamental tree is actually an apple." So that's what started it. And I didn't know it was homesteading. I just started looking up how to ferment my own food, which is to create better gut health and to
Hmm.
increase the vitamin content in your food. And as I kept doing this, looking for gardening, looking for growing food, composting, all of those things, the word homesteading kept coming up. And that's when I realized, like, oh my gosh, I think I'm a homesteader. Like, I had no idea.
Right? And it's so fascinating though, because it's like it all was because you couldn't find garlic in the store,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that a lot of people are scared to do something for themselves, but then they found it's so empowering because it's like you
Mm-hmm.
grow your own things and now you can control what it is you're putting in. And your gut, I think, is so key to a lot of things. I don't think people realize. Everybody
Yeah.
says it's your brain, but it's your gut that really is the general of the body, honestly, because that's where a lot of everything lives and all your stuff, all the kind of things like that. And it's so interesting because my wife's the same way though. Like before, I was the kind of person she's all this processed stuff. Now it's like, when you start getting home cooked meals versus eating all that crap that you can get, it's a major difference. Like she'll sit there and she drives me crazy with reading the labels, but it's like she's not wrong though. I mean, she's telling
Yeah.
you all the right things because the fact that we've changed a lot of the things that we used to eat, and now we go to certain items, and we make our own butter. Let me tell you, the greatest thing ever. Making your own butter is the greatest thing ever. I know it sounds crazy, but it's so much
Cool.
better than that crap you get in the store because
Yeah.
if you look at the ingredients, it's like there are all these different things that are in there, but really it's only heavy cream is all you need. It's just that's it. You whip it really good, and everything will separate. The solids will separate from the milk, and then you can use the buttermilk for, whatever else you're doing with that too. And like everything has its own little intricate thing, which I think is
Mm-hmm.
so cool because we like to do all that stuff on our own. Because like we prefer the taste of it versus regular butter. Then you go back to regular butter and you're like, what was I thinking? What is this
Yeah.
crap I'm eating? And
Mm-hmm.
you have a good point though. If you read some of these labels, God, man, there's so much. If you can't pronounce half the things in them, it's probably not a good idea to be eating those things, honestly.
Yeah. Real food is delicious. I think
Hmm.
that's the myth that people don't realize, like that it's yucky to eat natural. And, when I was
Yeah.
getting raised in the 80s, all the hippies that were making organic food, it usually was pretty gnarly. Like because they were trying to make it processed but organic, and they just didn't have the gumption. And then we had this big fat free movement in the United States, which just robbed us of things that are so cholesterol and fat are so important for your brain health. So when you have that delicious real butter, first of all, it's amazing, but then also it's going to satiate you. So I know that when I started having nutrient dense food, I'm working on a protocol. It's GAPS protocol by Dr. Natasha Campbell, and it's a gut healing protocol that incorporates a lot of fat. And I remember my first meal that was like a lot of fat, like lots of
Yeah,
butter,
but
maybe
isn't
some
it? But isn't it healthy fats though, Elizabeth? Is
super
that what you're?
healthy.
What I'm saying? Like, I think that's what people don't understand. It's not like fat. Like a lot of people are probably thinking while they're listening or watching this, are like, wait, hold on, fat bad for you? No, no, no.
Yeah.
This is natural fat. This isn't just some processed crap they put all together that has the fat in it. This is actual like natural kind of fats. You get from butter, animals, and things like that too. These are
Yes.
all natural, and you'll notice that you won't feel so sluggish afterwards. I can tell you from my own
Yes.
experience, from what I do now to where I'm at now,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'll have once in a while, I'll enjoy a good, a fast food meal here and there. But then afterwards, I'm reminded, like, yeah, this is why I stopped eating this crap. And I just decided to make it on my own at my home, is because I can make it better, but I can make
Yeah.
it taste better with all that additives and crap like that to slow you down, that make you feel like you're carrying on a weight or a tire in your stomach kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is a really good point that you made, Pete. Seed oils are like devil's fodder. Like it's just not good for you. And so when we talk about seed oils, we're talking about canola oil and palm oil. And initially, a lot of these seed oils were actually used for lamps. They were to light lamps. And then suddenly the petroleum industry was like, you know what, we can probably make this into some food. So you're basically drinking lamp oil when you have fast food fries. Now, there
Hmm.
is a movement for tallow cooked fries. And if you can get them at a restaurant, they're more expensive, but they're so much better for your body. I think what we are missing, or at least I was as a person that didn't cook until my 40s, I thought that cooking wasn't important,
Yeah.
which was really dumb, especially as a holistic practitioner. I was telling people to eat well. I was eating well, but out of boxes. And so it had less ingredients, but there were preservatives and it was sitting in plastic and it wasn't like really life, alive food. It was dead food that had been sitting on a shelf for a long time. And so when I first started having these real fats and real food, like you said, a lot of times the fast food is just mimicking real food.
Yeah.
Hamburgers existed before fast food joints had them, and
Yeah.
they're amazing and they're easy to make at home. You just fry them up in a pan, and then you've got, 2 pounds of delicious meat that you can eat with whatever you want, or you can fry up your own tallow fries. So I'm really glad that you're making that distinction because people think, well, I'm getting lots of fat. Well, no, what you're getting is poison. And so I
Yeah.
remember when during my chronic illness, the doctor was like, you have fatty liver. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not an alcoholic. I don't drink that much alcohol. What are you saying? I eat organic. I exercise every day. She could not answer why that was happening, but I can tell you now why it was happening. I was having a lot of processed foods, and those seed oils were poisoning my liver.
Oh yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
Yeah.
I cut out a lot of stuff. Like I think sodas were the hardest one to cut out if I like get
Yeah.
busy. But I do diet sodas now when I really have that craving. Even at that, it's
Mm-hmm.
like I have a cup and it's like that's all I have all day. I don't
Mm.
drink constant amounts because I'm always doing water with lemon. And at first, I thought it
Good.
was kind of like hoaxy. My wife would always do it. I was like, just thinking, like, I'm not drinking that crap, like. And I was like that first, but now I did it. It's like I like that little zing it gives you or whatever. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like that. It's kind of like a sour candy thing, like that citric acid in most sour candies, you can feel it. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
diabetic, so like I gotta find things to replace those kind of things, and that's the thing with me, especially. It's like I got a sweets craving sometime. It's like I need something to scratch that itch, and sour candy is my favorite one. So
Mm.
lemon water actually kind of scratches that itch a little bit. Like I'll have a piece of candy here and there. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give in to temptation, but I just won't engorge as I used to do because if I
Yeah.
looked at my diet before versus now, I eat way cleaner than I did before, and I think I had a lot of people they don't know how to cook. I think that's the scary part.
Yes.
Is I was like, how do you not know how to do one of the main things you should be taught is how to survive on your own. Like
Yes.
my 4 year old, she can make eggs, and there's half these adults that can't even cook an egg. And I'm like, this
Yes.
thing is just it's scary. Like
Your 4 year
because
old can make an egg? That
she
is
can make eggs. She
cool.
can make eggs. She can cook on the stove. Um, she's very self-aware though for a 4 year old. She's
Mm-hmm.
5 now. She just turned 5, but you can teach her a lot of things. She's
Mm-hmm.
very receptive to what you're saying, but she loves it. She's so excited to get in there and cook, and it's also a
Wow.
great experience, like a family building experience, kind of too, because she's all excited. You're teaching her something now. She wants to show you she can do it, so she'll come up and she visits every other weekend, and you
Mm.
know it is great because she always wants to get up and make egg. Oh, and make eggs. Sometimes she don't want to eat the eggs.
Mm.
She just wants to make the eggs. I'm like, all right, hey, cool. Listen, and so me and my wife will give her different things in the kitchen that she can
Mm-hmm.
do, and she can help us. What did we make? We made my wife calls it fry, but it's just flour and water basically again together essentially, and you just kind of cook it a little bit and you fry them up, and it's kind of like but it's called fried bread. I don't know what the other names for it is, but she was helping us make it. So
Mm.
she's so excited because you're empowering her to do these things, and
Mm-hmm.
she's like, oh yeah, look at what I'm doing. Oh yeah, and this little girl, like it's funny because she's like she doesn't want any of that sugary stuff. Like she'll have a soda here and there, but
Mm-hmm.
we limit how much she has. But water, you can't keep the kid from drinking enough water. Like she just keeps going. It's like, hey, don't drown yourself now. And it's great because we're teaching her at a younger age that her relationship with her food should be a little different. Mom's big
Yes.
about making everything at home, and I love doing it because it's fun. Because my wife and I get to spend time together, so we're always taking on different cuisines. We'll do like
Mm.
Mexican, we'll do Asian. things like that. And we'll do it ourselves. We'll break down,
Mhm.
hey, okay, so what's in this recipe, and go and get everything and start making it ourselves and try, new things that we've never done before. And it sometimes it hits, sometimes it misses. I mean, but you learn as you go, kind of thing. Like yesterday, we made homemade egg rolls on our own, and
Wow.
they were way better versus that stuff you could buy
Mhm.
in the grocery store. Like hands down, way better. Even those
Mhm.
buffets. Like I like a good buffet here and there,
Mhm.
but it's more of like a, hey, listen, you've been doing good. Go ahead and enjoy yourself a little bit. But that's all I eat all day, though. Honestly, but it's
Mhm.
versus where I was before. God, I
Mhm.
don't even want to think about it. My day
Yeah,
was terrible.
it's these incremental changes that can be life changing. Like the
Yeah,
moment that you said, I'm going to teach my 4-year-old how to make eggs, and then suddenly you're getting more protein when she doesn't want to eat the eggs. I think that a lot of times, especially as Americans, especially I actually don't know how old you are, but my generation, was taught that cooking food was useless and it was menial work. And that is the farthest thing from the truth. I feel like I was sold that lie for a very long time and I believed it. I believed I was too busy to make food
yeah,
and no one had taught me. And so when I first started learning, just like you, I became very curious about it. And what I also recommend is when you're first starting, like maybe somebody is listening and they're inspired to start learning how to make egg rolls too. Start with recipes that only have 3 steps. If they have
yeah,
more than 3 steps, don't do it. That way you're learning in a really safe and easy environment and you get an easy win. The majority of the food that I make has less than 3 steps. That's just
yeah,
because I really don't like being fancy. However, my husband, he found this Italian guy online and he puts on the Italian guy and Italian guy teaches him how to mix and it's
yeah.
amazing and I get to benefit from it, but it's not my jam. So he is still bringing something to the forefront. Now, to our relationship. Now, you also talked about a few things in the making. Number one, there's community. You're actually connecting with your wife when you're
Hmm.
making something new. There's a sense of adventure and fun. The brain loves novelty and routine. So the routine is I need to eat, and the novelty is we're going to try something new. We're going to try a new cuisine, and you're doing it together, which is creating some of that oxytocin bonding chemicals that occur. The other thing that you're talking about is when you are making it, you are doing something very different from picking up the phone and calling the Chinese
Right.
store, the Chinese restaurant
Exactly.
to get egg rolls. You're moving your body. You have to move to the store. You have to move around the kitchen. Those little tiny incremental movements are incredible for a sense of well-being and mental health. So kudos to you and your wife for getting in the kitchen and making real food.
My wife is actually from the South. I'm from the North, so it's funny. She
Mm-hmm.
likes to call me Yankee all the time. So,
Mm-hmm.
because my mom, I think so. One thing I remember my mom and I didn't have a great relationship, but she could cook. Like someone taught
Mm.
this woman in the kitchen how she could blaze trails in there. And like she just like, and it maybe it was maybe the sense of because my mom was making it homemade versus,
Mm.
going out and getting someone else making it for me. Because like you can go to a drive through, yes, but you just don't know what they're putting in it nowadays. If you really
No.
look at some of these labels, it's just like, yeah, I don't know about all that. And it's fun
Mhm.
though. I mean, it's great because you get to try new things. You guys get to spend time together.
Mhm.
It's the sense of accomplishment that you're making it, and then like again, you can control what you're putting in this thing. It's like you're putting these things in it. It's great though because we have a lot of Hispanic markets around us too. So we'll go out and check it out, and we'll get the meat from the counters. And there's all new kind of spices and smells and
Mhm.
things. You're trying. And stuff like that too. And she's like I said, she was born in Southern, so her grandmother taught her how to cook. So that's her big thing. It's like, hey, listen, what is it that you want? Let's go fill that void for you, kind of thing. She's always
Mhm.
asking me if there's something I want, or she's on TikTok. I know people cringe about TikTok, but I think if you use TikTok to your advantage,
Mhm.
like your husband's doing, he has somebody showing him. She gets a lot of these good recipes that she comes up with. Like Olive Garden has their I can't think what that soup is called. It's the Zappa Discon. I can't think of exactly which one it is, but it's the one with the sausage chunks. It's so
Mm.
good if you make it yourself. You go to the restaurant, you're disappointed. I guarantee it. And it's
Wow.
it's crazy because if you're making it yourself, and you
Mhm.
can let it control and let it sit for a little bit, like a lot of things too. Like you make it, you let it sit for a little bit, and it gets better. Like we've made like
Mhm.
soy sauce eggs and things like for our ramen noodles and stuff. I think that's when we were first dating. That was the first thing she ever made for me was she made ramen for me, and I loved it. It was great because it was just like she had all the different components and things like that. But we have access to all these great supermarkets you can go into, and do these things yourself. Like, you don't need somebody to make it for you. You can do it yourself. And a lot of them honestly don't take long to do.
No.
It's more, I think people are afraid to fail is what it is. Like, people are like, oh, that's the fun part about it. You guys start laughing about it. It's how it's funny. My wife takes it to heart a little more. I'm just like, everything I'm like, oh, it's great. I'm never gonna tell you it's bad because I'm not that adventurous yet. But you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
great because the sense that she likes to make it. It's
Mhm.
unusual to me because, like, when I was a kid, like, my mom cooked all the time, and then I started cooking because I was big into culinary arts. I never took it off as a passion, but I'm always watching different cooking shows to see different
Mhm.
things. And there's different places. Like, sometimes we'll go out and check out different restaurants. We'll go and sushi's a big one for us too. We love sushi and things like that as well. So we're always trying different places. Hot pots are really great too. Different ideas of things you can do at home.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just like it's so simple. All it is soup, and then you're taking the little items and stuff like that, and we'll do charcuterie boards and things like that, and all these different kind of things. And I think people, like, I encourage people to do it, man. Like, just go out there and cook with your partner and stuff. It's great. And then when you involve the little ones too, they get a sense of accomplishment too because they're helping
Mhm.
making dinner. And you're teaching them a life skill. Let's remember that. The main point is now you're teaching them a life skill that they'll learn
Yes.
later on, so they can boil water. Because that, like, I know that's the biggest joke all the time. Some people don't know how to boil water, but I mean, it's really not that hard to do, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, that was basically my upbringing. Both my parents were working. No one was cooking. Lots of microwave food, lots of TV dinners.
Yeah,
And I have no judgment on them. It's just a skill that they didn't learn. And you're
yeah,
right, it's an essential skill, especially if you want to keep your body healthy and well. It's very difficult, I would say nearly impossible, to eat out every single meal and have a healthy diet and
yeah.
thereby a healthy mental state. You had also mentioned that this is kind of like a hobby for you and your wife, and I'll say that there's a study that actually says people that have hobbies that use their hands are happier than people that don't.
Hmm.
So when I initially was like, "Oh my gosh, we got to get hobbies that use our hands," I was already, pickling and growing food, and I said to my husband, "Maybe you should start whittling." And he's like, "Whittling? Where do you even think of that?" I'm like, "Well, using your hands." And so he decided he wanted to start doing cooking, and that's using your hands. And it does, you put on if you have a particular type of cuisine that you're making, you put on some music from that cuisine, like, French country or Italian cafe music, and it's so much fun. It just brings your kitchen to life. And I think that we've lost a lot of that in the American culture. Instead, we've kind of been plugging into the matrix, which is come home from a long day of work. We're all tired and turn on the computer or the TV and then binge watch something and think that you're going to only do it for 3 minutes or 30 minutes and you end up doing it all night. And so, for those of you that are like, yeah, that's what I do, and thanks so much, Elizabeth, for making me feel crappy about it now, there is a solution. You can do something like habit stacking or habit chaining. And so, with habit chaining, what you would do if you come home and you want to put your feet up, you can go, okay, I'm going to do my normal habit, whether it's a good habit or a bad habit, but I'm going to add 5 minutes of going on TikTok or on online, any particular site and looking for a recipe to make my favorite. My mom used to make spaghetti and meatballs. And so I want to find a healthy version of spaghetti and meatballs. And so I need to find a recipe that only has 3 steps. And how can I do that? How can I find an easy meatball recipe? And so do that for 5 minutes. And then after you're done, then watch whatever show you were going to watch. And, it's okay that you still have that habit that's not working, but you can add another habit to it. It's going to do a few things. It's going to bring more hope into your life because anytime that we take action, we have a little more hope. It's like, oh, okay, I've done something. Yeah, I'm still stuck in the rut that I usually have, but I've done something and it's going to limit that self judgment because we're swimming upstream here in this modern society to be healthy. It is hard. It's
Yeah.
not easy to decide you're going to be healthy. And I think you've even said that, like, with your diagnosis, I'm sure that, when you first heard all the things that you needed to do to help your body heal, it felt overwhelming because the majority of people are just continuing to do everything that they need to do, and they're getting sick.
It's funny when you say that though, because when I first got it, I remember it was felt like a death sentence. The way everybody, the
Mm,
way they reacted, because my uncle
yeah.
unfortunately passed and we were really close. And my godmother, which is his wife, was,
Mm.
she passed away recently though, but but me and him were always close. I always remember the good times we had. But he always struggled though a lot of times. But he was always a really big guy, and I know near the end he just started deteriorating. And I was just
Mm.
like, when I found out myself, I was just like, it was so shocking and surreal, because it's like, now you can't have all these things, and it's really not what it is. It's more of a balance thing and understanding, because a lot of people, when I talk to, they're like, oh well, diabetes, that's just sugar. No, no, listen, you got it all wrong. You're missing the one thing, that really component that drives it, is carbs a lot of times too. But
Mm-hmm.
my wife recently has found she's diabetic, but she started eating clean, and her A1C has been dropping dramatically. She went from
Hooray.
from an 8 all the way down to a 6 in a month. And it's just like, just we juice a lot and things like that
Mm-hmm.
too, which these are all great things to buy. Like the Instapots are so great too for those people that don't have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of time. Crock pots are
Yes.
always great still. Meal
Mm-hmm.
prepping is a lot of times what we do too. We'll meal prep things, or I just go real basic with what I just get real basic what I'm eating too. A lot of times I'll just eat the same thing, but I'm just like, I'm okay with doing that, because I'm like, all right, I
Mm-hmm.
got to get something in, and
Mm-hmm.
it's hard, because it's a balancing act. I'm going to tell you right now, if you have diabetes, you need to learn what your body reacts to, like what makes it tick. And one of those
Mm-hmm.
continuous meters are really nice too, because you can see how your body reacts to different things you're putting in. And that's what
Mm.
my wife was doing. She's trying different things, like, okay, how about these, and I think the great thing with pasta though is that they're doing great things nowadays with these alternatives. Just
Mm-hmm.
don't be fooled by all the flashy labels and everything too. And
Yeah.
look at the ingredients, like really look at the ingredients, because if you
Mm-hmm.
start reading and you can't understand 90% of them, yeah, just put that right back, because it's probably not
Yeah.
worth it. You can get a spiralizer and make zucchini noodles, and you can have that
Yeah.
same spaghetti you want, and it's the same thing. But people are just like,
Mm-hmm.
so, oh, because I went vegan for a little bit too, and I was
Mm-hmm.
really big into a lot of the alternative options, and I really liked. I was eating meatless sausage at one point, and I was just like, you never even knew. Like I had the kids
Mm-hmm.
eating meatless chicken nuggets, and they were like, okay, these are good. They loved it. And I think that's what people are scared of, is that they're so used to the, oh, give it to me now type thing. And then it's
Mm.
like they don't realize the aftermath of, like, once your gut's bad, and then you feel like
Yeah.
crap, and if you're depressed, you're gonna feel like crap even more, and things like that too. And it's just when you say you juice, the first thing I thought of, and I'm sure a lot of us that were in the 90s, we remember Jack, what's it, Jack Delane, the guy who used to always
Yeah.
talk about juicing. Everyone thought he was crazy, but look at how old Jack was.
Yeah.
Like, Jack was like in his 90s
And
almost, and
fit.
he was looking fantastic. And it was all
Mm-hmm.
because he's taking in natural stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
juicing's great. There's a lot of things you can do, and there's so easy recipes to do. We have one of those, we spent a lecture though. We got one of those ninja ones, that little juicer thing. Oh my God, Elizabeth, I love this thing. It's so great. And it's like a lot of these pieces of equipment you can invest them to do other things, like your mixer. That's how we make our butter. It's like, oh well, you
Mm-hmm.
need all these fancy things. No, no, stop. You're overcomplicating. You don't need all that. The
No.
mixer could be used for everything. You can make breads, you can make your own
Mm-hmm.
pastas, you can do anything you want with these things. You just got to think that these are tools, not to be scared of. Just like
Mm-hmm.
use them. It's not gonna hurt you having them. Like the Instapot. I love that thing. I use that for
Yeah.
everything possible. I can put stuff in there. I can make soups all the time and things like that. I make my
Mm-hmm.
own stuff, and then I
Mm-hmm.
like making my own broths. Get like those whole rotisserie chickens, which I know everybody likes to hate on. Like leave the
Mm-hmm.
rotisserie chicken alone, guys. It's great. It's versatile. You can do a lot of things with it. You can make like chicken salad and things like mine.
Mm-hmm.
Um I use a little bit of mayonnaise, which my next venture is to start working and making my own mayonnaise, homemade mayonnaise for
Yeah.
myself.
It's not
That's the
that
next
hard.
step, because it's
Mm-hmm.
really not that hard. Exactly what Elizabeth just said. Not that hard.
Mm-mm.
But I mix mine with a little bit. I was doing a little sour cream now, but I'm working towards going towards like like Greek yogurt or something to replace it. But you don't really notice the difference. It actually tastes a lot better. It doesn't taste so like salty like a lot of those mayonnaise and things that you see in all the times and things in the packets. I get scared when I see packets, because you're like, oh God, how long has that been there? Is it bionic mayonnaise or is it real mayonnaise?
That's true. Like if mayonnaise is sitting on the shelf, real mayonnaise is
Mm-hmm.
only good for about a week. So if it's sitting on the shelf for, a year or the expiration date is 6 months from now, it's not real mayonnaise. So I really hear what you're saying. Now, there are a few things that I want to offer to you. The first thing is kefir. Do you see this little jar
Mm-hmm.
of food that's behind me? Kefir is incredible. It's super easy to make. So you just take cream or milk and you take kefir grains that you can buy. I got mine from a raw dairy farm on Etsy,
Okay.
and you stick it in there for 2 days. And what it does is it eats up a lot of the lactose, which for you would be great because it'd be less sugar. And
Yeah.
it also eats up a protein called casein. So a lot of people will say, oh, I'm lactose intolerant, but they're actually casein intolerant
Mm-hmm.
because it's just a difficult protein to do. So 2 days, you keep it out, and then you've got this incredible. It can be used for, this is cream, so it can be used as sour cream with your baked chicken. It can be used. I will sometimes put it in a fruit smoothie. Like yesterday, I threw some strawberries and an apple in my little tiny blender, and out came out this delicious with like 2 eggs and 2 egg yolks. So I had 4 yolks total.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really high protein and delicious. And this is something you and your wife can do. Here's what I love about kefir. Kefir, and you can buy it in the stores, but in the stores, a lot of times the yogurt and the kefir are not, they're not fermented as long as 48 hours. It just
Yeah.
costs too much for them to do it. So you don't get as much of a breakdown of pre-digested food, but kefir is amazing. It actually eats candida. Everybody talks about candida overgrowth.
Mm-hmm.
Candida overgrowth is a particular fungus that will give you cancer if it's left untapped. And it also causes depression, anxiety, brain fog. For me, it was causing aphasia where I couldn't speak. I couldn't think of words. Like right now, the fact that I can have an entire sentence makes me really happy because, 10 years ago, that was not happening because of the brain fog. And so kefir will actually eat those things for lunch. This thing will break up all of the bad stuff in your gut. And on top of that, yogurt, when you have it, it comes in, it cleans out your gut, it like feeds some happy microbes, and then you expel it. Kefir comes in, goes into your intestines, and colonizes. So you're eating it and it's staying there and it's continuing to help you by eating the microbes that are not going to help you, by allowing your gut to seal so that you're not getting toxins into your bloodstream. It's a remarkable food. And so I would love for us to talk in a year and you tell me how fantastic you and your wife
Yeah,
enjoy
I'm gonna have to try
kefir.
it. It's a new venture I'll have to try definitely
Super
because we're
easy.
always into trying different things. Like I said, we make
Yeah.
our own homemade bread sometimes,
Yeah. This is
and so
right
if you
up your
look how much it
alley.
costs, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. What
Right?
was a loaf of bread like the ones that are like they're
The
not
real
the
ones.
yeah, the real ones cost you a
Mm-hmm.
lot, but if you go to like the bakery, like we tend to buy bakery bread versus anything. But then we
Mm-hmm.
started making it ourselves because you compare the cost and everything, and
Yeah.
she had found a great recipe and it was like it wasn't really hard to make. She was loving it too because she loves
Yeah.
baking and things like that too. So it was
Oh,
fun to do those kind of things. And she was a big bread connoisseur. So and it was like I gotta tell you, it's probably the best bread I've ever had in my life. Like it was
of
so good. You
course.
didn't need a lot of things on there. You get some of that
No.
homemade butter, splash it
Mm-hmm.
on there, and mind you, when you're making your own homemade butters, you can add garlic and all these other
Mm-hmm.
herbs and yourself, and it
Rosemary.
doesn't take long. Yeah, saying like
Mm-mm.
you can make all these different kinds of butters.
Yeah.
Add like the salt you want, like get sea salt. Don't get salt's good, but add a little sea salt, a little better. I like that
Mm-hmm.
rock sea salt in there because that
Mm-hmm.
that little punch it gives you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the great thing is you can customize all these things,
Yeah.
and you see all these different butters. Oh, they're made with these, this, and that. But okay, but yeah, again, it doesn't take that long to make. It's really not that
No.
hard. I made the butter. Heck, I even made it one time. She couldn't do it because she broke her wrist one time.
Oh.
So her wrist had broken in the last few months. So she was having me make it, and I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do this, man. But I got in there, was doing it, and it was like, okay, well, this is not as bad,
Mm-mm.
But like I said, though, you get the buttermilk from there, and then you use the buttermilk for something else. Some
Mm-hmm.
people drink it. I'm not that
Mm-hmm.
adventurous yet, okay, but we'll get there eventually. But like it's just it's just so great because everything is just natural. You get all this stuff
Mm-hmm.
yourself, and you start making everything on your own, and you control what your vegetables are, like with how the
Yeah.
different grown ones. And the great thing is, like, look for farmers markets too. You
Yeah.
could find incredible things being grown around you that you don't realize people are making, and people, these all guys have all these surplus and things they're bringing out, and it's real food. And another one
Yes.
too, a very fun guys, get a vacuum sealer. Mine died from 15 years ago, just died recently. I'm very sad, RIP, but I love the hell out of that thing. I could Oh my god, the things you could do with that was so great. You could vacuum seal and prep things ahead of time. And meal
Wow.
prepping too is another thing I suggest people try
Mm-hmm.
too. Is like, if you don't want to cook all week, meal
Mm-hmm.
prep. Like go ahead and prep your meals ahead of time. Get you some containers. You can put them in, separate them. They make great containers these days that separate everything around. You can portion your foods out, all that kind of stuff. There's other recipes that you got a lot of these guys doing, like these, different burritos and other things that you can portion out. You
Mm-hmm.
could freeze a lot of them too. Get some of those containers, you can freeze them and things like that too, and stuff like that. Just prepare things at a time. Like it's not hard. Just spend one day, just that's what you turn on some tunes and just start making it all. Because the rest of the week, all you do is just come home, grab your meal, and you're controlling what you're eating at the same time. So you're not tempted by that fast food. It's like, oh, well, I could get that fast food. I can go home and eat this prep meal I already got going,
Yeah.
pop it in for a few seconds and we're good to go. Or, depending on what it is, hey, listen, I
Mm-hmm.
made a great salad at home. All I got to do is throw the components together really quick and I'm good to
Mm-hmm.
go, and you'll notice a major change. And I'm telling you, as a person, it was a food junkie. I'd eat
Mm-hmm.
all that crap, everything you see,
Me
everything new.
too.
Like now that I'm looking at a lot of it just makes my stomach turns like, no, I'll try something here and there because I'm curious. Like I'm like, oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I want to try this, but I'll go to like soda wise. I always go zero sugar version. And I know people are like, oh, zero sugar is bad. It's not. Stop. I'm not telling you to go drink gallons of the crap, and things like that too. It's great. It's nice because it gets that sweetness for me, and things like that too. It hits that little sweet notes I want, But remember, because I'm diabetic, I can't have a lot of that stuff. I got to be careful how much sugars I'm taking in.
Mm-hmm.
Protein's my best friend because a lot of that protein will help
Protein
you
and fat.
offset your sugar spikes and
Yep.
things like that too. And notice the common denominator here, guys. We're talking about is your food and your gut, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's like probably like, well, what does that have to do with mental health? It has everything to do with your mental
Has
health.
everything.
I
Yes,
think
I
that's the
couldn't agree
main thing,
more.
and you're probably my second guest. Is actually we've talked about this with. There was another girl I had, Abby, that came on, and she does the same thing. She's teaching people how to eat better, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, what is that going to do? It's going to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Honestly, just right off the bat, you're going to notice a major change. You're going to notice that you don't feel sluggish, and you don't feel
Mm-hmm.
so weighed down, and things like that too. And you can do little things like go out for little walks, take the dogs for a
Mm-hmm.
walk with you, and all these things you do, like they help. And like I'm telling you, as a diabetic, it helps me. Like if
Yeah.
my sugar's high, I'll take a stroll. I'll grab the dogs, take a stroll around the block, come back in like 10, 20 minutes, check it again, and it's dropped. And all I did was that.
Wow.
I don't have to go rush and go, oh, well, I got to go
Mm-hmm.
inject all this stuff in, or I got to take this magic
Mm-hmm.
pill. It's like, I think that's what people need to understand is that your food plays a major role in these things, and if you start treating yourself better, that you'll have a better mindset about things. Because I think a lot of people's relationship with food is bad. Like Elizabeth was saying, hers was like, they were told that cooking was no point. I mean, really it is. You can control all these things. You can start
Yes.
teaching kids have better relationships with their food and things like that too.
Yes, absolutely. And I see a lot of my family members from my family of origin that, food was not important. And now they're on, 15 to
Mm-hmm.
17 pharmaceutical drugs. And it starts with one, and then there are side effects to that one. And then you need another drug to have side
Yep.
effects for that. And I remember in my teens when I had a dip of depression. So I have a long history of depression. I remember thinking like it's never going to get better. And a counselor was like, well, I think we might want to put you on some medications. And there was something visceral in me that was like, no, I don't want that. And thankfully I was given the autonomy not to do it. And then in my 20s and 30s, I realized that first of all, I started renaming some of my mood states. So even on your Instagram, there's depression and then there's depression.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I would start going, oh, is this just a mind cold today? And what can I do to take care of this cold? What would I do if I had a stuffy nose? And so I will go for a walk and I would notice that within 15 minutes, about the 15-minute mark is when I could feel the feel good chemicals start to reemerge. And now this was before I stopped eating candy bars because I had a huge sweet tooth and I have a lot of diabetics in my family, my relatives. So I know that I have a propensity for that and I have to be very careful.
Yeah.
And so once I started to do the walking and started just like, oh, this is medicine. Who knew? And there are studies that even Dr. Oz talks about, or he talked about 20 years ago, that a regular 15 to 20-minute walk a day can actually help stabilize your moods better than a lot of the pharmaceutical drugs that they are overprescribing right now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that pharmaceuticals aren't a good thing. I'm saying it's dangerous how we're giving it away like candy, just like we did antibiotics when I was a kid. And so the next step was to step away from processed sugar, like candy bars and all those yummy things. But I don't think that the best thing to do is just white knuckle it. I think you need
Oh
to
God,
find
please don't.
things that are good for you. So for me, I chop up some I'm a crock pot girl. That is my that is my MO. I love them because I don't feel like they're ever going to explode. And I have a few. I have a baby, a little tiny one, and that tiny one, I'll chop up like 5 apples, throw it in. Maybe I'll put cinnamon in it if it's the winter, but if it's, right now, if it's too hot, I don't really want cinnamon. And I'll just cook it for 2 hours. Now I have this incredible applesauce. I didn't peel it. I just chopped it because I don't want to do an
Man,
extra
see,
step.
that's my next venture. I love applesauce. You got me
It's
thinking now. I
so
need to make my own applesauce.
It's so easy. And then what you do is you don't want to have it just by itself, right? You don't want to have all that sugar. So then you put some duck fat in it and it tastes like
Oh,
apple
okay.
pie. Or you put butter, or for me, sometimes I'll have like a cup of the kefir cream that I have, and I'll put the applesauce over it, and it's amazing and it's delicious. And the high quality fat is going to help the glycemic index in the apple. So you're not
Hmm.
just getting straight sugar. So just always add fat with your sugar. Always, always, always.
Yeah,
In
and I
whatever
think I
sugar
know
you're
people are
getting.
like, "Oh wait, Pete, diabetic sugar, you shouldn't have apples." Listen, it's natural sugars. I think that's what we're
Mm.
missing here now. Before everybody starts panicking, we're talking about natural sugar. We're not talking
Mm.
about that highly processed crap. Like, don't get me wrong. Like it's just like any other addiction. I think sugar is very addictive. I don't think people talk
Yeah.
about that enough either. It's like
Super.
once they get you hooked, it's like I could tell you, I fiend for it. And my wife would always make jokes to me about. She's like, "Hey, listen, you act really weird with your candy. Like you'd hide it like you're hiding drugs, kind of thing. Like I'd hide them around the house, kind of thing." And it's like I
Yeah.
never even thought of it that way until she
Yep.
said that. So, but
Mm-hmm.
like I think I enjoy to use a candy bar here and there, kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. But I'll eat it in moderation though, because I'm
Yeah.
like, or I know it's gonna hit. I'm just like I'm preparing for it. I'm like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have one just a little bit. It's just kind of nice, because I'd like to try some of the new stuff that comes out, and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And it was like my weakness, and it's just like, oh god, do I miss sugar? No, not really. Like, cause I still get it, my sweet fix. Like I said, I got my diet sodas that touch that little points, or those flavored seltzer waters and things like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Ice makes some really good ones too. But even at that, you still have to be careful. A lot of those, a lot of the extra crap they add in there.
Yeah.
The little water enhancers too are nice. I was using a lot of those to get some water in my system as well.
Mm-hmm.
And those are real nice little tools and things like that. Even just putting lemon in your water too, like I felt a major difference.
Yeah.
And I put a lime. I got a little crazy. I put a lime in mine.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. But and it's just I just think that people like they don't realize how addicted they are until when you start on
Yeah.
the outside looking in. Like when I really started looking at my calorie count, like I did a 500 calorie diet, and I know it sounds crazy. It was one of those fad diets at the time. It was completely doctor supervised the whole time. I started really looking at the labels of what I was eating, and I'm just like, holy crap, Pete, what are you eating here, man?
Mm.
Especially those grandma's cookies. Like if you look at the calorie count on those things, I was like, oh man. Because when you
Mm-hmm.
start talking like macros and things like that, you start realizing how many calories you actually need in a day. Like you can get a lot more of like your greens and everything in there. You get a whole surplus of those kind of things, and it won't go towards your calorie count as much as you think it is. So you can
Mm-hmm.
load up on broccoli, carrots, all these other great things. And if you don't like those things, like there's a great recipe out there for a riceless. You use cabbage instead of rice, because cabbage has that kind of, and you can make like stir fry with cabbage and stuff and replace it too. It's
Mm-hmm.
really good. I tried one of those, and I was
Delicious.
just like, I'm going to tell you, you could trick yourself so many different ways with that. Like I said, the
Oh, yeah.
zucchini noodles, like we said earlier, you can do zucchini noodles, you can do all
Mm-hmm.
these other spiralized things, and I think they're great. And I think a lot of people just need to just be adventurous, like be adventurous eaters.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be scared to try something new, guys, because a lot of stuff you'll find you actually like more than you realize. And you're like, well, why did I eat that other stuff? Because I thought it was so hard to do this. And
Mm-hmm.
don't be scared. Like I said, just I can't say it enough. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to try something new, because you never know what is going to happen. What's the
You
worst
don't.
case scenario? Okay, I don't like it. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like that. But like me and Elizabeth were talking about, just kind of replace it with something. Find something to
Mm.
replace that
Mm-hmm.
need. Like chips for a while for me were real hard to shake. I need that
Mm-hmm.
crunch sensation type thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
I was doing like seaweed chips and things. But I'm adventurous. I like to try anything. I'll try mostly any weird cuisine. I'm down. Let's go for it. I'm down. But there's other things you can find. Just find something to fill that gap in there, that
Mm-hmm.
need. What is that need you need? Is it crunch? You need the sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
Just find something that touches that point for you. When you get there, you'll start to notice that you feel a lot better. Like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, you can have those chips. It's great to try them once in a while. Like I'm always like,
Hmm.
I like Frito Lay when they start coming with these weird flavors. I'm like, okay, I gotta try them. I gotta try them now and see what these are, and things like that too. But I stay away from a lot of that stuff now. I choose like cheese or hard boiled eggs are a big go to for me as well.
Hmm.
I
Oh
love
yeah,
hard boiled eggs,
it's a
and
great
I
fast food. It's you can
definitely.
take it with you anywhere.
I like to put it in different things to see what I can
Hmm.
make. Like what was it? I discovered recently they were making hot sauce flavored eggs, and I know it sounds weird. Don't come for me, guys, but it's the greatest thing ever. Like it's so good. It's just that vinegar taste because I've always liked pickles and olives and things like that. That real
Hmm.
bitter taste you get, I
Hmm.
just it hits that sensation I love. So,
Very cool. Yeah. Hard boiled eggs are the best.
hmm
There are these things that you can, and what happens, like when you said initially, it can be daunting to look at the ingredients on each package. But what happens is I buy 90% of our food at the farmer's market because they have a butcher there and they have ranchers there. So I can get my
jealous
meat and
already.
everything. And I know, well, Southern California, I'm very lucky. And then when I go into the supermarket, I make a beeline. I know what I'm getting. I'm getting my
Yeah.
raw milk. I'm getting my raw butter, and maybe I'll get some banana chips that are, cooked in coconut oil, and maybe I'll get pork rinds. That gives me a little bit of the crunch.
hmm
But
hmm
once you've looked at so you spend one day looking at all the ingredients, but after that, you know which brand to buy.
hmm
So like it becomes very easy. It's just like you like Frito Lay and it's weird ingredients. You also will know like, oh, this one has two ingredients. This is the one I'm going to buy, and then you just don't even see the other things, and so it becomes much easier. It's just the initial investigation can feel daunting, but it's only one time. You only have to find the brand that works for you one time, and then you're good. You're
Exactly. There's
golden.
nothing wrong with doing research, guys. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's in fact it's better to do research. Like I thought my wife was kind of loopy when she used to do it all the time, but she'd dig into stuff, and now I have the same mindset she does because it
Nice.
makes sense. Like we luck out though. We have a friend. One of her coworkers is actually a registered nutritionist, so she gives her
Mm,
advice all the time. So she'll tell her,
wonderful.
"Hey, try these things, and these other things, and be careful with a lot of this stuff, like peanut butter." Ooh, boy, you got to be careful with peanut butter. Let me tell you what, guys, you're not careful, there's a lot of ingredients there. Get the natural peanut
Yes.
butters. It's so good. It's because it's real peanuts. You can add a lot extra. If you can add some honey in
Mm-hmm.
there too, because honey's great for that too. But
Mm-hmm.
try and get the purest source of honey you can get. I mean, it is a little pricey, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, it's just remember you're only using it in moderation. You're not gonna be like dumping it like you're using pancakes here. But like, don't get me wrong, you can use pancakes here. But I'm just saying is that moderation is really the key in the whole thing. It's just kind of like do things in moderation. Don't just like cut yourself off completely cold turkey of stuff because you're not going to succeed that way. It's going to be more likely you're going to fail because, it's just like anything. Like even drug addicts will tell you the same thing. It's like you can't just stop. You got to kind of ease yourself off because
Mm-hmm.
even some of those big pharma medications, you got to be careful because you can't just cut it off and stop. You gotta be
Yes.
ready because the aftermath of it is just going to be rough for you the rest of the way.
Yeah. You definitely need supervision. As if you are on a pharmaceutical, you need to work with your healthcare team,
Hmm
especially the person that prescribed it or someone that's of equal tenure in their
Yeah.
education to help you get off of it. It's very dangerous to jump off that stuff on your own.
Yeah, and two, listen, and another thing is challenge them if you need to. If you don't agree with something they're
Yeah.
doing, don't be scared to say something. It's your health at the end of the day. Like they'll fight you on some things, but you'll find a
Hmm.
lot of them understand your point of view. It's like, do some research on some of these drugs they're trying to put you on. Like what are you trying to accomplish when using this? Because my wife is very
Right.
defiant like that. They were trying to put her on something and she was like, yeah, I'm not taking that. I don't care what you
Hmm.
say. I want nothing to do with it. And I was like, yeah, but it's nothing wrong with that though. Like there's nothing wrong. You're not being difficult. You're more involved with your own healthcare. And even at that, a lot of the healthcare providers respect that even more. It's the fact that you're
Mm.
really involved with what you're doing. Because a lot of them I go to now are like, hey, what do you think about this? And like they'll ask my opinion. And I'm thinking, like, why do you keep asking me that? At first I was like, why do you keep asking me this question? But then when I started doing my research into what our end game was or what these drugs are supposed to do, it's like, oh, okay, I get why you're asking now because you want me to be actually involved in what I'm doing and have a voice into what I'm saying. So I'm not like, well, this doctor's forcing me to take this. Nobody's forcing you to anything. Nobody's shoving the pill down your throat to go to take these things. You can tell them, no, I don't want to take that. Or I
Hmm.
don't want these certain things. My wife is a big person that does that all the time. And at first, like I said, I thought that was weird, but now I
Hmm.
get it because a lot of the stuff she's saying is making sense. It's like
Hmm.
when you really look at the bare minimum root of it, it's like, what are these for? And she'll just sit there and just drone. She can drone it off for hours for you what the things are, and it's so fascinating to listen to because you're like, okay, all right, yeah, it's so cool because she works as a vet tech, so she has a little medical background, so she knows a lot of
Hmm.
this stuff. So it's really cool when she comes home and starts telling me about these different things that she's doing. Oh, I saw this, or she's really good at animals, so I like to jokingly call her Jeff Corwin. Like, you could ask this woman any question about most animals and she could come back with a fact list of just things, and it's just funny to listen to. So I'll just pick random animals and be like, hey, Liz, babe, what is this? Hey, what's that, babe? Just to see what she's got, and she'll just start droning
Oh,
things off and all that
have
stuff
her
too.
tell you about the platypus next time you hang out with her, because
Definitely,
that's
I'll
a
have to.
crazy animal. There's some
Well,
crazy. She's gonna have some good facts about that.
Well, guys, we're going to have to start wrapping up this episode of Pete for Society. I wanted to thank Elizabeth for coming because this was fantastic. I had a great time. I enjoyed having you here. Go check out her book, guys. She put a lot of work into it. People love it. You're going to love it too. I'm pretty sure of it. Elizabeth, if anybody wants to come reach out to you, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
Thanks, Pete. You can get actually a free gift from me on my website.
Mm,
It's a habit tracker and it gives you an explanation of how to make easy habits. And you
okay.
can get that at createwellnessproject.com/gift. And my book, The Homesteader Mindset, is available on Amazon or anywhere you buy books.
Guys, I'll provide all those links in the description of this video or the audio if you're listening to it. And once again, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for coming. I appreciate you being here today. It was great. I loved having this conversation. I'm definitely going to go check out the website too, because I love to check out all my guests' websites, all the information, things they give you, because you could never know what you're going to find there. And I always like the words free. Okay, I may be cheap, but I like things free. Hey, listen, nothing wrong with that.
Thank you so much for having me, Pete.
No, it was great. Thank you so much, guys. And we wrap up this episode of Pete vs. Anxiety. You know where to find me. I'm on X all the way down to TikTok. I'm on Spotify all the way down to iHeartRadio. And as I always say, it costs nothing, absolutely nothing to be kind to somebody. One kind act you could do can save someone's life, or hell, you can make their day. I'm Pete vs. Anxiety signing off, saying, don't ask how your day is today. Say, hey, how's your mental health today? So bad, we can fall, don't break my neck. It's a sign of respect, it's a life for death. But never will die for the price of a check. I got my integrity and my word. I'd rather die than death and burn. My respect.